Welcome to the deep dive. So today you've handed us this fascinating stack of sources. It's like a unified field theory for how to live well. I mean, we've got Marcus Aurelius sitting right next to a modern leadership coach.
And Tolstoy, and a legendary basketball coach. It's a wild collection.
It really is.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is, to kind of synthesize these things, to understand what Aurelius even meant by proper human work.
Right. What does that phrase actually mean in practice?
Exactly. The actions that bring joy and meaning. And then we want to break down how we apply those, ancient, lofty principles to our actual daily lives.
The architecture of character. I love that framing.
That's it. We're bridging millennia of wisdom.
Because that's what proper human work is, right? It's the blueprint, according to the Stoics anyway.
It is. And Aurelius, he gave us 4 non-negotiable pillars, 4 foundations we have to lay down.
Okay, so what's the bedrock here?
So these 4 pillars, they're really the core of self-mastery. First, it's a commitment to acts of kindness to other people.
Simple enough.
Second is mastering your internal world. He calls it disdain for the stirrings of the senses. But really, it's emotional control.
Okay, that's a bit harder.
Yeah. Third is intellectual clarity. So being able to identify trustworthy impressions, knowing what's real.
Yeah, and the last one.
The last one is the most philosophical. It's contemplating the natural order and just accepting what happens and keeping with it.
Wow. That's a huge mandate. We're going from these philosophical heights right down into the trenches of daily life.
That's the goal.
So let's start with that first one, leadership and kindness. How do we actually do acts of kindness in a way that feels like serious work and not just being nice?
Well, what's so fascinating is how the sources immediately ground this in responsibility, especially for leaders.
Okay.
Coach Ortiz makes this really powerful distinction. He says your responsibility isn't to be in charge. That's just a title.
That's just a label on a door.
Exactly. Your real, profound responsibility is for the people in your charge.
That reframes everything. It moves it from a position of authority to one of service.
It's all about service.
Yeah.
And the sources are so clear that this starts with character, not just competence.
Right. The hierarchy of proper work is specific.
Good people first, then good students, then good teammates, in that order.
So if you want to perform this proper human work, you have to realize that kindness isn't some, abstract thing.
No, it's concrete action. It's developing real empathy, actively trying to see things from someone else's perspective, even if you just fundamentally disagree with them.
It's asking better questions.
Asking better questions, being a better listener, a skilled listener.
But, okay, let's be practical. In a competitive environment, how do you create that space for vulnerability? Because admitting I don't know or I need help can feel like, weakness.
And that's the leader's proper work. You have to consciously build an environment where vulnerability is actually a sign of strength, not a weakness.
So kindness is the foundation.
It's the structural integrity. It's what allows people to take risks and admit they don't know something. If the culture punishes mistakes, you'll never get honesty.
You'll just get errors repeated in secret.
Exactly. And, we often fail on the most basic level, just simple courtesy.
Yeah, that observation from Princess Jackson Smith really hit home for me. The asymmetry of it all.
Tell me about that.
Well, she points out that the courtesy you show someone, it might be forgotten instantly. They might not even return it.
Right.
But discourtesy.
Oh, that is absolutely remembered.
It sticks. It goes into this emotional ledger and just compounds negatively.
So every small positive act is a deposit.
A deposit into what the source calls the collective account of trust.
Precisely. And discourtesy is a massive withdrawal, often from an account that's already low. So proper human work, in this sense, is recognizing your character is built on the compound interest of these tiny daily acts.
Which is the perfect foundation for our next pillar, emotional mastery.
This brings us to pillar 2, disdain for the stirrings of the senses.
A very stoic phrase.
It is. In modern terms, we're talking about becoming the rock. The person who doesn't destabilize everything when the pressure hits.
The ultimate exercise in self-control.
It's a deliberate, conscious commitment to positivity, no matter what. And when things go wrong, the rule is strict. You do not spew negative energy.
No complaining, no sarcasm, no blaming.
Zero tolerance. You have to be a member of the encouragement club. Always.
Okay, but I have to push back a little here. When a real crisis hits, or there's a betrayal, isn't it just human to feel anger? To vent? Does this encouragement club risk feeling fake?
That is an excellent point.
Uh,
And the key is internal versus external. It's not about suppressing the emotion inside you.
I see.
It's about controlling the output.
Yeah.
You can feel frustrated, sure, but you choose not to broadcast that toxic energy to everyone else. The proper work is finding that internal switch.
A pivot.
Yes, a pivot away from fury. And the material gives us a tool for this. It's simple, but profound. Get curious instead of furious.
I like that. Fury is the cheap reactive default.
It's automatic. And it almost always makes things worse. If you react with fury, who's to blame? You shut down all problem solving.
But if you react with curiosity,
What can I learn from this? How do we adapt? You open doors. It's an active choice to find the why for enduring so you can handle anyhow.
and this internal discernment becomes critical under pressure. We actually see the inverse of this in the material with Tolstoy and Ekman's observation on the military code.
That's the ultimate anti-example. It's what happens when you completely surrender your own discernment. The code says the superior must be obeyed, even if they say that, 2 times 2 equals 5.
That's the total surrender of reality. If you're forced to say 2 plus 2 is 5, you've given up more than just an argument.
You've given up your mind, your ability to trust evidence. Proper work demands you defend the integrity of your own mind. If you give that up, you can be forced to participate in anything.
And the only way to break that cycle is
Individual non-participation, even if it costs you dearly. It just shows how much this proper work requires a strong internal foundation.
which leads us perfectly into the third pillar, identifying trustworthy impressions.
Exactly. If we have to preserve our internal integrity, we also have to be ruthless about the environments and the people we let in,
You have to curate your surroundings.
with the same rigor you apply to your thoughts. Coach Ortiz draws a very bright line here. Relationships are either nourishing or toxic.
No middle ground.
Not for long. People move toward one pole or the other.
So what does a toxic environment look like from this perspective?
Constant criticism, blaming, complaining, they're just black holes for motivation.
And a nourishing person.
They encourage, they inspire, they offer constructive support. But the real warning here is personal. Toxic people damage your health, yes. But if you are the toxic one,
You're the one eroding every relationship you have.
you have to examine the impression you're making.
And this clarity is never more important than in a crisis when you have to choose to either build or block.
And that's where that African proverb is so potent. In a moment of crisis, the wise build bridges, but the foolish build dams.
The imagery is so clear. Dams are about fear. They block flow, they isolate, they build up pressure until something bursts.
They're an attempt to control nature. But bridges span the divide. They connect. They allow communication.
That's how big problems require small solutions.
One plank at a time.
And if we want a measure of how well we've done this work with relationships, there's that incredibly moving William Stafford anecdote from '67.
Yes. He overheard his kids talking after a family dinner.
Right, and he realized in that moment, this was it. This was the measure of his life.
He called it the only and probably the best memorial service I will ever get.
Such a profound idea, because he got to hear it while he was still alive.
Yeah. The trustworthy impression that really matters. It's not some big speech at a funeral. It's whether your family, your friends still want to come and sit at the table with you.
It's the living evidence.
The living evidence that you built a nourishing environment, that's the proper work.
Yeah.
Ensuring those conversations can keep happening day after day.
And that focus on the present brings us to the final pillar, contemplating the natural order.
This is where Stoicism meets modern psychology. We have to recognize that the universe, nature, it responds to consistency.
But it's completely indifferent to our intentions.
It's a harsh but necessary truth. You can intend to be kinder or to save money, but if you don't show up with consistent action, nature doesn't care.
It only registers the repeated action.
Or the repeated absence of action.
So the proper work is to align our actions with that natural law. Naval Ravikant sums this up perfectly with his habit-building rule.
Choose consistency over content.
Explain that.
Well, if you're inconsistent, even the best content in the world will fail you. The densest book read once, the hardest workout done sporadically.
But if you're consistent,
Even modest content will compound into massive results over time. The proper work is finding the thing you enjoy so much you do it for free,
because that's the action you'll actually do, relentlessly.
without needing external motivation. It's the sustainability that guarantees the compounding effect.
And that relentless repetition is the only thing that transforms us.
John Wooden, the coach, understood this so deeply. He adapted the 4 laws of learning: explanation, demonstration, imitation, and repetition.
But he added to it.
He felt that wasn't enough. So he famously added repetition, 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 and repetition.
You can't miss the point there. It's not about one perfect rep.
No, it's about the relentless accumulation of honest effort. No lazy reps.
And this is where preparation and consistency meet.
Yeah, Coach Ortiz says it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
If you aren't showing up consistently, you're just betting on luck.
You are. And that realization brings this incredible clarity to how you spend your time. It simplifies every decision down to one thing.
Alive time or dead time.
Every moment, every choice is either contributing to your growth alive time or contributing to your decay and stagnation. Dead time.
There is no neutral.
There's no neutral. Proper human work is the discipline of consistently choosing alive time.
So let's bring this all back to you, the listener. The architecture of character isn't some grand project you do over a weekend.
Oh.
It's built over a lifetime by applying these 4 pillars. Being a source of kindness, becoming that emotional rock, building bridges, and committing to consistency.
And when you face challenges, you're always left with only 3 choices. As our sources remind us, you can give up, you can give in, or you can give it all you got.
The proper work isn't fighting the world.
No, it's confronting the internal enemies.
Mm-hmm.
The laziness, the negativity, the inconsistency, the things that keep us from choosing that last option.
The architecture is built plank by plank, brick by brick.
So if our character really is the sum of our repeated choices, ask yourself this. What is the single small act of courtesy or positive choice that if you repeated it consistently starting today, what would transform your future eulogy the most?
That living eulogy.
That living eulogy. It's never about the massive overhaul. It's about the small solution applied relentlessly.
Thank you for sharing these powerful sources with us for this deep dive into the architecture of character. We hope this gives you the blueprint to start building.